Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling like you're just sprinting on a treadmill, you're busy, totally exhausted, but you haven't really gone anywhere.
Yeah, that busyness without breakthrough feeling. It's incredibly common.
Right. So today we're looking at the high stakes world of intelligence operators, the
Yeah.
spies, basically. And we're going to see how their survival techniques might actually help you with your, completely overwhelming daily life.
Exactly, because that feeling, it isn't really about a lack of willpower. It's more like a systems management problem.
Yeah.
We're just dealing with so much information, so many
You
choices.
mentioned the average person makes something like 1,600 decisions a day.
Well over 1600, yeah. And that sheer volume, that cognitive load, it creates this kind of chronic anxiety. But the CIA, they deal with, life or death decisions constantly. They have a pretty radical way of tackling it. It starts with how they think about resources.
Okay, resources. Usually we think productivity, we think time and money, right?
Right. But the sources we looked at, these are from actual intelligence field manuals. They boil it down to just three things that matter for performance: energy, time, and money.
Energy, time, money.
Hmm.
And framing it like that is key because it immediately shows you what's renewable and what isn't. Energy, you can always generate more, theoretically.
Ah,
Rest, food, even just shifting your mindset.
okay. And money, well, you can always make more money, right?
Theoretically, yes, but time. That's the kicker. Time is totally finite. It's always ticking down. It's non-renewable.
And that's probably why it causes so much anxiety, isn't it? We worry about money and energy being scarce. But time is the only one we truly, truly can't get back.
Precisely. So our mission for this deep dive is to see how these operators use the clock, the very thing stressing us out, as an objective tool, a guide to manage overload and make quicker, better decisions under pressure.
Okay, so the core problem we're really tackling here is what you call task saturation. Task saturation, yeah.
Hmm.
It's that moment when the sheer number of things you need to do just completely overwhelms your ability to comfortably, effectively handle them. It's what a spy feels juggling too many variables in a risky situation.
And it's what I feel looking at my inbox on a Monday morning.
Exactly, same phenomenon. And the danger when you hit that saturation point, the sources are really clear. Your thinking gets worse, decision fatigue kicks in, stress skyrockets.
And you get that awful feeling of just running in place, spinning your wheels, but getting nowhere productive.
Right. So we need a system, ideally one to prevent it from happening in the first place. But if not, we need a way to pull ourselves out of it.
Okay, let's start with prevention then. How do you stop the overload before it even starts?
Well, proactive management is everything. And the CIA uses this incredibly simple, maybe almost too simple sounding, rule of thumb.
Which is the subtract 2 rule. Okay, hang on. If I'm already feeling like I'm drowning in tasks, telling me to intentionally do less, doesn't that just mean I fall further behind? That sounds counterintuitive.
It does. It really does at first glance. But think about the cognitive science behind it, married with that field efficiency. The rule is figure out how many tasks you think you can confidently juggle at the same time.
Okay, say I think I can handle, 7 projects.
Right. Then the rule says subtract 2. Limit yourself to 5. If you feel like you can handle 3 really urgent things right now,
Only commit to 1.
exactly, you subtract 2.
So it's not just about cutting back the workload, it's strategic. You're
What?
boosting the resources, the time and energy for the tasks that are left.
Precisely. You're intentionally building in a cognitive buffer. Think about your working memory, that mental juggling space. Most research says we can hold maybe 7 things plus or minus 2.
Right, that classic number.
So by deliberately subtracting 2 before you start, you basically guarantee you're operating below, say, 80% capacity. You're giving yourself margin, mental breathing room.
And that margin, that extra space,
Yeah.
that's what creates the positive effect.
Yes, that's the feedback loop. Because you have more resources for those remaining tasks, you actually get more productive on them. Your quality goes up, your speed might even increase.
So increased productivity leads to momentum.
And momentum feels good. It shifts your mindset, makes you feel capable, less stressed, which helps you stay productive without just constantly putting out fires.
Compared to the opposite,
Hmm.
getting saturated, feeling negative, making mistakes.
Which just creates more problems down the line. So yeah, the subtract 2 rule acts like this preventative shield. It kind of locks you into a more sustainable, efficient way of working.
Okay, that prevention strategy makes a lot of sense. Build in the buffer,
Yeah.
but let's be real. Life happens.
Oh, absolutely.
Unexpected stuff comes up, deadlines converge, task saturation is going to hit eventually, right? So what happens when the system does crash? when you are just completely, utterly overwhelmed. How do you get back on track?
Right. This is where the emergency procedure comes in. It's honed for those critical moments. It's essentially a two-step process. Step one is, honestly, it's the hardest part.
Which,
Acceptance. You have to consciously acknowledge, okay, I am task saturated. And crucially, accept that you will not get everything done that you originally planned.
oof, that's tough. We're wired to try and do it all.
We are, but fighting that reality, trying to push through when you're already overloaded, it just burns precious energy you don't have. So accepting it is like giving yourself psychological permission to stop fighting the inevitable for a moment.
Okay. Acceptance gives you permission to triage, basically.
Exactly. Which leads directly into step two, operational prioritization. And this brings us right back to time. Remember how time is the non-negotiable resource.
Yeah, they're a reliable, objective guide.
So you use that. You use time to sort through the remaining tasks. And the core of this, the question you ask yourself, especially when your brain feels like it's full of static, is incredibly simple.
What's the question?
What is the next task that I can carry out in the shortest amount of time?
Shortest amount of time. Not most important, not most urgent.
No. Because when you're truly saturated, your ability to make complex judgments like importance or strategic value is compromised. Your brain is overloaded. But you can almost always instantly assess which task is fastest, quickest to complete.
It sounds almost too simple. Like, surely the big problem needs tackling first.
That simplicity is precisely why it works under extreme stress. We could call it focusing on low activation energy tasks. You're looking for the smallest possible unit of forward progress, the easiest win right now.
Okay, let's make this concrete. The source material had those intense field examples, like you're an operative meeting a potentially dangerous asset. High stress, you're immediately task-saturated thinking about security, escape routes, the conversation.
Right, a million things hitting you. So what's the next simplest, fastest thing you can possibly do in that moment?
Maybe just say hello, shake their hand.
Exactly. It takes maybe 3 seconds. It's incredibly low activation energy. But think what it achieves.
Yeah.
You've broken the initial tension. You've started the interaction. You've ticked one micro task off the mental list. Boom. Tiny bit of momentum.
Okay, but what about the worst case? The source mentioned the asset pulling a gun. Instant, extreme task saturation. Your training is probably screaming 50 different complex moves at you.
Right. Do I talk him down? Radio for backup? Try to disarm him? No, your brain can't process all that. The fastest thing you can do is basic survival.
Protect yourself.
Protect yourself, get behind something solid, drop down, take cover. It's fast.
It doesn't solve the gunman problem, though.
Not long term, no. But it immediately addresses the task of staying alive right now. It reduces that immediate threat variable, buys you maybe seconds, creates a tiny bit of mental space by reducing the stimuli. And that space allows for the next fastest decision.
Which might be.
Usually assessment. Use your senses. Eyes, ears. Where's the threat? Is my partner okay? How many shots? Again, focusing on the fastest way to gain information, not the most comprehensive solution yet. You're just climbing out of the hole one tiny fast step at a time.
And the power here is that this same logic applies even when the stakes aren't life or death.
Absolutely. Your boss calls you late on Friday. Unexpected demand. Feels like a crisis. Threatens your weekend plans. Boom. Task saturation hits. You can't think strategically about the next quarter right now.
But you can ask, what's the next fastest thing I can do?
Maybe it's not solving the whole issue. Maybe it's just firing off a one-sentence email. Got it. Looking now. Takes 10 seconds. Breaks the paralysis.
Or maybe it's just standing up, getting a glass of water before even reading the email properly. Just a small action.
Any small, fast action works. The point is to break the freeze response caused by the overload. It's reliable whether the threat is a terrorist or just an overflowing calendar. It's the same mechanism.
Okay, so we have prevention, subtract 2. And we have resolution, accept saturation, then do the next fastest task. But there's still that internal noise, isn't there? Even when we know what to do, that voice inside.
Ah, yes. Head trash. That's what the sources call it. It's a real cognitive phenomenon. When we get saturated and rational thought kind of shuts down, the brain doesn't just go quiet. It redirects that processing power, often into emotional, negative, sometimes catastrophic thinking. That's the head trash.
That's the voice saying, I knew I couldn't handle this, or I should never have agreed to this project, or I'm just not cut out for this. Self-criticism, basically.
Exactly. Self-demeaning stuff, ridicule. It just piles on top of the actual tasks you're facing.
And that's dangerous because
Because its main goal, psychologically, is to convince you to stop trying. It's an avoidance strategy deep down. It whispers, just give up. You can't do it anyway. It keeps you stuck in that overwhelmed state instead of pushing you back towards rational, small actions.
It sounds almost like a defense mechanism gone wrong.
Well, there's an evolutionary link, probably. Think about it. That moment of feeling overwhelmed, whether it's by modern deadlines or, an ancient predator, it triggers the same basic fight, flight, freeze response. The sympathetic nervous system kicks in.
So we're kind of wired to panic and doubt everything when stressed. For survival.
Pretty much. Our ancestors in the cave needed to be hyper-vigilant to assume the worst about rustling leaves. Doubt kept them alive. But we live in a world now where we mostly need to thrive, not just survive moment to moment. We need trust and forward motion.
So doing the next fastest thing, that simple action, it kind of bridges the gap. It uses that ancient reaction instinct, but channels it into modern productivity.
That's a great way to put it. It bypasses the complex paralyzed analysis paralysis, bypasses the negative head trash loop, and forces an immediate small win. It connects reaction to progress.
So if your brain's busy telling you you're failing because you're overloaded, the answer isn't just like thinking positive thoughts. It's taking a small, physical, immediate action.
That's the core of it. Yeah, it's behavioral first.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. The key takeaway seems to be task saturation isn't a maybe, it's pretty much a guarantee in modern life, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're doing anything meaningful, the demands will likely overwhelm your initial confidence sometimes. So you need this strategy, operational prioritization. And remember, often the simplest solution really is the best one. It's proven under fire.
So the practical advice is, when you feel that paralysis setting in, that cognitive shutdown, you stop. Don't try and wrestle the biggest, hairiest problem to the ground.
No. You deliberately look for the next simplest thing you can do. And it might seem unrelated. It might literally be stopping work to make a sandwich.
Or pour a coffee, or like you said, just clear one small corner of your desk.
Exactly. The goal isn't perfection. It's not solving the whole problem right then. The goal is just to accomplish something. Anything.
Because accomplishing that tiny, simple task, it breaks the spell.
It does. It builds that little bit of motivation back. It restores a tiny fraction of energy. It creates momentum, however small. And crucially, it starts shifting your mental state away from that negative head trash and back towards feeling capable, towards action.
But doing it once is probably not enough. You said this needs practice.
Oh, definitely. Trying it once will likely show you it works, which is great. But for it to be reliable when real pressure hits, you need to drill it. Like any operator trains a response.
Practice it when the stakes are low. At home with chores, at work with email.
Yes, repeatedly, so that when you feel that familiar wave of overwhelm starting to build, your automatic reflexive response becomes, okay, stop. What's the next fastest, simplest thing? It needs to become habit.
That's how you shift from feeling like a victim of your circumstances to acting more like,
Yeah.
well, like a trained operator managing the situation.
Exactly. So maybe here's a final thought for you, for the listeners, sort of chew on. That same biological wiring, the one that makes a surprise late-night call from your boss feel like a genuine threat to your whole career.
Yeah.
That's the exact same wiring that helped our ancestors survive actual threats in the cave. And if doing the next fastest, simplest thing was the key to survival then, what seemingly small, quick action are you maybe avoiding right now? That could be the key to unlocking your ability to thrive today.